So think about this for a second. What if a place wasn't just involved in slavery, but was literally engineered from day one to perfect it? That's the story we're getting into today. We're looking at South Carolina, a colony that deliberately, step by step, built itself into this massive economic and political machine, all powered by human bondage.
I mean, that's a pretty intense question, right? Did the harshest system of slavery in the entire US really exist in just one state? Well, the history books seem to point to one specific place. Look, slavery was a horrible reality in so many colonies, we all know that. But one was just different. It was unique in how systematically, how deliberately it was built from the ground up.
And really, that is the key thing to wrap your head around. This whole system, it wasn't some accident, it didn't just slowly evolve over time. No, it was a choice, a series of very calculated decisions that created this massive engine of wealth, all built on the backs of enslaved people. So let's actually take a look at the blueprint they used to build this machine.
Okay, so where do you start? First things first, you write the rules. The entire system didn't just start with ships and chains. It started with ink on paper. It started by laying a legal foundation for everything that was about to happen.
And the speed at which this happens is, well, it's pretty startling. Think about it. In 1663, the official plans for the colony, they don't even mention African slavery. But fast forward just 6 years, to 1669, and boom, it's written right there, explicitly, in the colony's founding constitution. So by the time the first governor shows up in 1670, the deal is already done. The precedent is set in stone.
And just listen to the words they used. This isn't buried in some complicated legal jargon. It's right there, plain as day. It's stark, it's clear, and honestly, it's chilling. Every freeman of Carolina shall have absolute power and authority over his Negro slave. Absolute power and authority. Wow. That one sentence, that became the legal bedrock for the entire brutal system that came next.
So you gotta ask, where did this idea come from? This fully formed, incredibly harsh model of slavery. Did South Carolina just invent it out of thin air? Nope, they imported it. It was basically ready-made, brought in from a place that had already perfected its own brutal system.
You see, the guys who founded the colony, the Lords Proprietors, they were desperate to attract settlers who knew what they were doing. And the most valuable recruits? They were the colonists from the British sugar island of Barbados. Why? Because in Barbados, this incredibly harsh, incredibly profitable system of slavery was already running like a well-oiled machine. So to get these guys to move to Carolina, the proprietors basically said, "What do you need?" And they changed the rules specifically so these men could bring their enslaved laborers with them.
And this is what makes South Carolina's story so different. I mean, other colonies used all kinds of labor, right? They had indentured servants from Europe, they enslaved indigenous people. But South Carolina, they made a very conscious choice right from the get-go. They decided that enslaved African labor wasn't just going to be part of their economy, it was going to be the sole foundation of it. And the reasons for this choice? They were coldly practical. It was all about the skills and knowledge that enslaved people brought from the West Indies and Africa, skills that were invaluable in that subtropical environment. I'm talking about knowing how to navigate the waterways, having the right agricultural skills for the climate, and, tragically for them, they were believed to be more immune to diseases like malaria and yellow fever that were just wiping out Europeans. Their expertise was literally exploited to build the entire colony from scratch.
So you make this deliberate choice in who you're going to force to labor for you, and it leads to a demographic shift that's unlike anything else in English North America. The whole colony was about to change big time.
Get ready for this number. By the year 1715, 60%. That was the percentage of the population in South Carolina that was black. 60%. Let that sink in. This wasn't just a large number of enslaved people. This was a black majority.
I mean, look at that chart. The numbers are just so stark. The enslaved population wasn't just supporting the colony. In terms of sheer numbers, they were the colony. And that single fact, that demographic reality, it would shape absolutely everything that came next, from the crazy booming economy to this deep, pervasive culture of fear among the white minority.
And check this out. That phrase, Negro country, that's not some modern term a historian made up. No, that's what people at the time called it. Starting around 1708, you see letters and official documents referring to South Carolina that way. They were acknowledging what it had become. The colony was now something totally, fundamentally different from all of its neighbors.
And you can imagine, right? Having a black majority created this deep, constant fear among the white colonists. They knew every single day that they were outnumbered. And that fear, it just fueled a vicious cycle. The constant threat of an uprising led to even more brutal laws, even stricter controls, even harsher punishments. All of it designed to hold on to that absolute power the law gave them.
Okay, so let's piece it together. We've got the legal framework. We've got the imported model from Barbados. We've got the demographic reality of a black majority. But why? What was the whole point of this incredibly detailed, meticulously constructed system? Well, the answer, as it so often is, was money.
But it's funny, people living there at the time had a pretty harsh view of the folks running the show. Take Reverend Gideon Johnston. He was living right there in Charlestown, and he didn't see these industrious pioneers everyone talks about. He described the English colonists as disorderly, lazy, and, get this, the vilest race of men upon the earth. That is a stunning condemnation coming from inside the colony.
And yet, despite what the Reverend thought, the system worked. I mean, it worked exactly as it was designed to. All that forced labor from the black majority generated insane profits from rice and indigo. So much so that by the 1760s, South Carolina had become the single wealthiest colony in all of the Americas. It created these massive, enormous fortunes for the white elite. So let's just run through that blue point one more time. It's really a clear four-step plan, isn't it? Step 1, write absolute power into your founding laws. Step 2, don't start from scratch. Just import a model of slavery that's already been perfected. Step 3, deliberately create a population where enslaved people are the majority. And Step 4, build your entire economy on top of that foundation. Simple, brutal, and effective.
And that machine they built, it would keep running for another century and a half. The leaders who came out of South Carolina would go on to become the fiercest defenders of slavery on the national stage. Which really leaves us with one last massive question to think about. When a system is built so deliberately, so intentionally, and runs for so long, how does that shape every single thing that comes